Okay, I want to talk to you a little bit about doing well inspections. Well inspections are, they're really not that hard. Some of the people get confused about water volume and water pressure, which they're akin to one another, but they're actually different. Pressure, as I'll show you in a few minutes on this video, is how much pressure you have if there's no water flowing. If you turn the water on, the pressure goes to almost nothing. Then you've got water volume. Then you've got, and on a residential, if you've got four to six is kind of acceptable. Anything more is grand, but it's got a lot to do with the size of the pipe. If you've got a small pipe, you can only get so much water through it. Larger pipe, you're going to get more water. But what we do is document what we have. If you get in a house and you turn the shower on, then you turn the faucet in the sink on, you see it diminish a little bit. Then you turn the flush the toilet, and it goes way down, especially on these old 1950s houses or those like that. What you got, it's not a pressure problem, it's a volume problem. Because a lot of them with that old galvanized pipe, they corrode on the inside, and what happens there is you just can't get as much water through it. I've outlined this stuff, what we're going to report on. Okay, on a well inspection, the first thing you want to do is look at the well head outside. Make sure the cap's in place. This one has got a grounding screw on it and the wire's loose and missing. You want to note stuff like that. The conduit has pulled away, and we want to make a note of that to take care of that stuff so you can't hit it with a weed eater and stuff. And here's another common thing we find is well heads below grade. Now, there's not anything you can do about it, but you still want to report on it, because when they're in a pit or down low like this, they can actually get surface water and contaminants to get in the water. That way you're getting the runoff from the fertilizers in the yard and stuff down in them. And anything electrical or anything that needs to be noted, just get it in the report. That's what matters. Okay, the way to use these things, you just put them on, get them tight. This is, like I said, this is at my house, but if you're on a well, you want to turn the water on. You want to bleed any air out of it, because if it has air in it, it will read different. This gives you your PSI. That's your pressure. And this one's going to give you your pressure. It's that simple. Okay, the way to use these things, you just put them on, get them tight. This is, like I said, this is at my house, but if you're on a well, you want to turn the water on. You want to bleed any air out of it, because if it has air in it, it will read different. This gives you your PSI. That's your pressure. And this one's going to give you your pressure. It's that simple. Okay, here's an actual picture that I put in a home inspection report. I'm running at about 40 PSI. That's a pretty good number. Anywhere from about 35 to 55 or 60, those pumps are going to vary a little bit, is acceptable. And when I started flowing the water, I was getting about 5. And that's GPM. I'm in the gallons per minute now. So we want to see how much water we're producing. And after I let it run a few minutes, it will actually diminish and go down just a little bit. That's because the pressure dropped somewhat. What you want to do is you want to look at all the piping, look for any leaks or anything that could be a problem or anything. Here's one that I got that was nearly 70 PSI, but it was really okay. Also, see the little valve? That's the backflow preventer. There has to be something that keeps the pressure in the tank from back feeding back into the well, or it'll short cycle. Either the valve is bad, or something's leaking, or a bladder's bad in one of the tanks. That will cause your short cycling, and that's something you'll see pretty often. This is the pressure switch. This little black box has got a set of point contacts in it. When the pressure gets too high, it will cut off, and when it calls for pressure, it will kick on, and that's what turns the submerged pump on. And we'll see that a lot. I want to talk about pressure tanks now. Okay, I want to talk about the pressure tank. These wells actually have a holding tank that's got an air bladder or a balloon inside of it. You even see the little Schrader valve at the top there, so you can add air if you get a short cycle or you need more air in your balloon. These pumps will turn on, and they'll build the pressure, and you'll use the water up in it. Then the pressure switch will call for more water, which will repressurize the tank. And that's the way these things work. Okay, I really don't worry much about the water filter systems or anything, but I do document the condition if they're leaking, if there's anything there. Plus, I want the homeowner to know what's there and what to be expecting. Okay, this is how you do the flow. You check it. Because this one's flowing about 6 GPM, that's how you do it. Okay, that's a little short video I put together on some well tests I've done. What we want to do is really document the static pressure, the GPM, any problems we see, any freeze concerns, any plumbing concerns. I just want you to understand a little bit about hydraulics. On a well, the pump's going to kick on. It's going to build the pressure. The pressure tank's going to hold the volume when it gets to wherever it's preset, which 35 to 60 is my preferred numbers, but anywhere in that realm is okay. But that tank just sits there and holds that water. When you turn a faucet on and you have demand, and that water volume starts going on, the pump turns on. These pumps don't just magically turn on the minute that you want water and then pump, and the minute you turn the faucet off. That way they can keeps from working the pump. That pressure will go down, and then the pressure switch will tell it that it needs more water, so it turns on, the pressure will go back up. And if you really look close, you can notice it. I've got a video following this one right here I really want you to watch. It's short cycling, and what causes them to short cycle can be a combination of things, but we just want to call it to the attention and have somebody come and look at it. You've either got the pressure backflow valve or the check valve. You hear it called check valve. I always call it a backflow because the world I came from, that's what we called them, but it's a check valve so that the water runs all one way and it can't go. If you build the pressure here, it doesn't matter what's on this side. This holds the pressure and the valve holds it. So when you use water and the pressure drops, then it will call for more and the pump will pump more. And so the check valve, if it's letting water run back to the well, it's a problem. So it sits there and just runs, it calls for water. Or if the bladder in the tank, if the bladder gets too flat, it's called being waterlogged. So it doesn't have that air bubble because air can compress and do where water technically can't compress. You know, we could argue that from point, but we're not going to go there. Air compresses, so it uses that space. That's what keeps the pressure up. If the bladder's burst or if it's just collapsed, is what causes every time that this pump, the switch is just turning off water, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. And you can actually see it in this video. That's a big deal and needs to be checked with. Well, I hope this little video helps you a whole lot. I know I'm bad to get animated, but if you got any questions or need anything on these well inspections, be sure and call me or get in touch with me. Plus, if you got any more good video, I'd love to have it. Thank y'all.